Okay.
Because we are also curators and we like to write about exhibitions and we are very interested how it all came to be. And now we are going to take a look at the exhibition for the third time, because first time was too quick, second time was drunk, and now maybe we can watch it normally. Good day, everybody. You're listening to Kritiški posladek. This is another edition to our Marina Abramović and Lena Pislak podcast with additional audio with the curators.
We are talking today with the curators of the exhibition. This is Alenka, Gregorič and Felicitas.
Thun-Hohenstein.
We are going to talk about the curatorial approach, about how it came to be, why it is in Slovenia, and also if there are any fun facts to learn about it.
Lepo pozdravljeni. Poslušate Kritiški posladek.
Posladek. Thank you very much. Welcome to our studio at Cukrarna. First, could you please provide a brief overview of the exhibition's title? So, who chose it and were there any other alternative options? And also, in relation to the title, does the manifesto serve as a primary conceptual framework? And was there a working title you can share with us?
Yeah, actually it was the working title. And it
Many
was,
of them.
Yeah. No, but it was the first. I think it was the very first title, or do I?
You mean the art vital?
Yeah.
No, there were many. Remember when we were in Starhouse, there were many different titles, Archaeology of Time, and then this became a subtitle. And so it's a long story, you know. Actually, you ask a very complex question, because with Felicitas, of course, we had our own ideas. But then when we met all together with Marina and Lena in Starhouse for 1 week to work together, then, of course, the question of title came out. And then we were playing with many different words. We were just gluing them together. But Art Vital became, at that point, like... Yeah, that's going to be the title.
Yeah, but I remember for us, the two of us, Art Vital was always the main title. And then we discussed subtitles like archaeology and anthropology of art and nomadism, so that they all have to be in. But it was, I think, from the beginning, from both of us, and I even don't know who put it on the table. Then we said Art Vital because of this manifesto, of course, and not only because of the manifesto, but Art Vital includes the whole philosophy and the whole approach to art and life of the two.
So was this also the approach that you two took towards the exhibition? Like the manifesto? Was the manifesto in your mind when composing the exhibition and choosing which works will be displayed in what way and stuff like that?
No.
It was all the time there, because you cannot escape it. And it has every article of the manifesto has an important meaning, and it reflects in Ulay's and Marina's practice, of course. But no, never we thought to kind of took it as a granted or to kind of construct the whole exhibition around the manifesto.
Not at all. The very first thought that we both had was a journey.
So you mentioned that you two met with Marina and Lena in Starhouse for 1 week.
Mm-hmm.
How was it?
Beautiful.
Marvelous.
A lot of work. No, it was. I understand totally the question. When you know that you will be together for a week with our artists, with the fame as Marina has, you think like, okay, how this will go? Of course, you ask yourself. But it was a beautiful meeting because we met outside the house. Actually, we went to grocery because it's half an hour drive to buy milk, food, and so. So we met in front of this small berry farm that two of us loved because we were there already once before. We were, of course, a bit nervous, and then we know each other well, but then, you're living in somebody's house, and then you're a guest on one side, you're a collaborator on the other, or co-worker, or however. But then immediately when they came with the car and stepped out, and Marina said, look, I'm dressed really like for this farm environment, easy, no makeup. And we felt like, yeah, okay, what we were worrying about. And I tell you, after this, I don't think there was a single minute of nervousness. She's really like, when she lets you in, it's 100%.
Total commitment.
Yeah.
And she started to cook for us and to care for us. She's very, very caring,
Oh, yeah.
And very generous. And her hospitality is amazing.
But then also her working schedule, it's like on minutes. So we said breakfast 9, it was 9. But she already worked in the room. We all did something, whatever. 9 breakfast, we said 10 archive. Although somebody went to the room to take something, or you went to clean dishes or whatever, 10:00 Marina was in the archive. So it's like with her, working ethic is like the thing. And she works like a machine. She starts 10. We had an easy lunch, just something, piece of bread with butter, something. And then we worked till 6, 7. And then slowly we went to the house, and each evening somebody was cooking. So it was like really schedule, and she's totally on time always. And she kind of also expect this from...
Were you two on time?
Oh, totally. We had to. No, but it was, it
was pleasure.
Yeah, it was pleasure and joy.
I think we learned a lot. It was a wonderful journey also for us. We had the chance to open their boxes which have not been opened for 40 years, and had total trust of Marina to dig in. This is a process which is not naturally given, and sometimes I think we both didn't know where our bodies end and the archive begins, because you dive into a very intimate world of little papers, of correspondences, of letters, of sketches, and of vulnerability and love and struggling with emotions, and basically life and correspondence with institutions which show the precariat of the artist life. Per se, we also invited Bojana Kunz to write a wonderful text about this topic, because very important was for us to also deconstruct the myth of the romantic love couple of the 20th century, and just show that they were really hardworking people with all conditions and of conditio humana, with all the problems and also the advantages that artistic life and chosen nomadism has, but also the really problematic points, and that more or less nothing has changed within the relation of artistic practice and institutions, demanding institutions. You have here this wonderful projection on the floor of the binders of the institutional correspondence, where here and there you see where is our honorary, or we cannot pay a honorary for you. So this was very important for us also to make a connection to nowadays view on artistic practice, not to romanticize it, but like Ulay said, we were just an ordinary couple who worked.
Can we just dive a bit deeper in the whole process and the journey of this curatorial escapade or curatorial long journey? Because it, as far as I understood, the idea came up quite early on, quite a few years ago, but probably the whole starting idea developed a lot throughout the years, and also then with the collaboration and actually starting working on it. Can you just kind of walk us through the milestones, like the key things that happened that kind of put us in the direction you're going, and also what were the first expectations maybe, and how those changed a bit with learning more and more through the research?
Yeah, it was a journey. It was a long one, but also really not demanding, time demanding, but not demanding in energy. As Felicitas said, when you dig in such a historical part of material, then time is definitely not under question. It's more like trying to grasp as much as possible out of what was available to us. And of course, we were limited with the archive visit. So the first one we did was for us really to understand what's in this archive. So because we didn't know what we will get. And Sydney Fishman, she was really great help to us because she opened the door, literally, and unlocked all the drawers and took the boxes for us. Because, when you come to the archive where it's the whole Marina's life, so before the 12 years and after the 12 years, of course you need some guidance. Then we just started. We opened the first box and then the second box and the third one, and we started to talk. And of course, there's also a language issue. I could read in Serbian, Felicitas would read in German, and then English, as a common in between. And then we were translating to each other. But then, eventually you also start to bring in your own thoughts. So it started somehow to become part of one tissue from the beginning, in a way. We didn't come there with a frame, like, okay, that's what we want, but we were totally open, let's see what we get, and then we embrace it and we work on it. It's like, you put things on the table, you see what you have, and then you decide what you will cook. And it was kind of in this direction also when we came to Ulay's archive. I had advantage that I was there already before because I worked with him. But, we came again with different expectations, or we were even more curious then. We wanted to see more, to dig more. And Lena Pislak was of great help here. She again put all the folders, everything out, all the boxes. So we did kind of a parallel visit United States and Marina's archive, and then Ljubljana. Maybe in Ljubljana more times, of course. I live here. It's easier for Felicitas to come to Ljubljana. But we spent maybe less hours in a row. What was good that we could then just think it over. And then we would meet, like in different places, or in Vienna or Ljubljana or somewhere else that
Barcelona,
both of us...
London.
Yeah. So it was kind of... And we always used the opportunity to talk about what we saw previous time. Because you always need time to think it over, I call it to digest. Like with the food, you need time, and then we would talk, and then we would put different topics on table and different ideas on table, and then we would meld them together, mix them, and then again we would go to States, and then Marina came with, of course, another way of looking at things and explaining to us and interpreting us and telling us stories. So again, another field opened, and we were like, okay. So the structure, it's so hard to point a finger to the milestone, but it really grows slowly through all the talks, discussions. We were even meeting people who would be close to them, like Michael Klein. We met with him. He came to Star House for one day, and we just talked a lot with him. Then we went to Ursula Krinzinger. We had a short talk with her. I went to meet with Biljana Tomic, and I made 3 hours interview with her. So to kind of understand the Belgrade scene, and then the April meetings in Sakaca and so forth. And so we were bringing in the knowledge we had from before, what we were kind of discovering through the process, and also very personal stories of different people that we met. So it was really, really slowly growing up. It was not like, we never even went to one meeting between two of us or with somebody else that we would say, no, we have to come to the conclusion of this. So actually we worked till the last minute, I would say, even deciding for certain works how to be presented here with Marina in last week. Because, it was, and she was very much totally open. So some of the works, the presentations you see, are totally our suggestions, totally. And she was like, okay. We explained the concept, like why to use archival material next to the photographic documentation. She was like, I'm totally for it. Let's go. So there are a few works that she even gave us this possibility that we interpreted it in our own way, how to visualize it to the visitor. And that was something that she was constantly also referring to, which of course was in a way great for us because we had the whole show in our mind. We knew it, and we knew where potential gaps could happen. So we could then, with kind of viewing the whole show, suggest to Marina what we think for presenting some of the works which were never presented. They were never shown anywhere. So it was also for her first time for some works to give them a visual representation in the gallery space.
Were there any things either of you wanted to have before you kind of got to the archive? Because there's a couple of pieces in the exhibition that seem very hard to obtain in a way, especially the vans seem to me like that's like a crazy thing to even have the opportunity to get. Was there anything that you were wishing for and it happened, or this was like something that happened before the archive, like we need to have that in the exhibition?
No, not for me. We, as I said, I think the art vital, the notion of the process-based work that Alenka now described, which was our kind of icaric view on the material, like a journey, a cartographic gaze, I would say, and the journey of the two of us together with all people around, like you said, Lena and Marina and Aidin and the whole team. It was a constant exchange and a constant growing and then cooking it down, and then it grew again and we cooked it down again, and many voices heard. And you said today very beautifully, it's about hearing. And I think what we did, we really listened to each other, and even if we didn't give at this moment an answer, the answer appeared at a certain moment. So this is how the whole concept grew, and for the very beginning, for both of us, was very important to show as well the archival material, which visualizes the process of the artistic thinking. I think this was a crucial, important thing for us that we decided from the very beginning. But of course, we didn't really know what will come up. And then during this process where we went to the Ulay archive in Ljubljana and to Hudson Valley, to the Abramović archive, more and more we got into the material and were able to select. Because your first reaction is just, wow, look at this paper, look at this sketch, we have to have it, and we have to have this. But of course, it's thousands of ephemerals. You cannot have them all. And basically, there were some small works from the very first trip to Hudson Valley that both of us loved. For example, the looter. The drawing of the looter and the looter, or the propeller, or the relation in movement drawings. This was quite fast decided that we absolutely want to show it, but we still didn't know how.
Why did you like the looter? For the listeners, the looter is the cactus. Is he alive? Is he the true cactus?
Yeah. Of course, and we are also taking care that it gets light during night so that it will not die with us.
I think this is quite a pressure, right? I mean,
yes.
They say it's not so easy to kill a cactus, but
without natural light, you do kill any plant. So we take care of it, of course. Come on, we have one person taking care of it, and I think today they managed to fix the artificial light. So during the night we will give the cactus, our looter, the light, and we take care of it very much.
But the question is quite important, because the first looter of Marina and Ulay did not survive, because they placed looter in a gallery and they asked them to take care, and they didn't succeed taking care. So this looter didn't have obviously a long life. But the looter is also about the story. It's not only a very intriguing and touching object, but also the story behind of Luther Berbeck, where it has his name from, who was a scientist, a biologist, who tried to reproduce cactus without thorns, so which is also a kind of metaphor for love and peaceful shared existence, and Actually, you can see this in the exhibition, in the drawings that we always put beside the objects to be able to dive in the story. They were in Sicilia, or where was it, Sicily? And Marina had a dream of this cactus. And there's a wonderful drawing also that you can see beside Luther. And she came out of the house, and Ulay had a drawing of the cactus as well. So you have also these synergies and these coincidences, which are wonderful within an artistic realm, which is much more than going for artworks, which is a constant thinking, which is so important for our society.
I would actually ask you if we can put some dates on the whole research thing, because I think it's very important to kind of also give not just the public, but the people in power an idea how much work goes into this, because I think this is something that goes a bit overviewed. Like you go to an exhibition, yeah, you see the things, yeah, okay. But this feels like this was not like 1 or 2 years, but actually more. So if we can just do a couple of days, maybe when the first idea floated to...
Yeah, we can. Yeah, I know what you want to say. Sometimes the shows look so easy. When you see it, that you think, yeah, why the hell do you need so much time to do something like that? Huh? I know.
I mean,
yeah.
I see there's a lot of work behind it,
You
but
see
I think
it
seems too seamless, and I think it's overlooked easily.
Just maybe to answer the question from before, just to add from the objects, like, yes, with Felicitas, we didn't have a certain object, but Marina had. This is important to say, because she said, without the van, the show doesn't make sense. And she really wanted it. But luckily, the van is part of the collection of Lyon Museum. And we met with them in last Venice Biennial with director and Mathieu, who was then a great, great, great help to us. Even we got documents when they were buying the van from Ulay Marina and so on and so forth. So we got really, again, view into the institutional background of buying the works of Ulay and Marina from the Night Sea crossings. So from the table, chairs, different objects, but also of the van. Without the museum in Lyon, it would be much poorer, the whole exhibition. And a great thanks all the time goes to them. They were really great, great partner. This is also not always the case when you do inter-institutional collaboration. But yeah, time-wise, actually it was after Pistoletto exhibition in Cukrarna, which is, 3 years ago. We had a talk with Felicitas, but not to repeat all the talk. I spoke about it many times. I think people know it, but it's more like how to continue with programming the institution, because Felicitas is member of our international board, which I think it's really important for us because we hear voices from outside, we hear comments, it's different because locally, it's of course many, many different factors that are influencing the opinions and critiques and so on. And then we had a long discussion on the open market, and this idea came out. Then slowly, sitting on it was not really a long time, but then Lena came saying that, we met with Marina, and she thinks it's time to think about these 12 years. It's time to show it together. So somehow it was really two tracks that we came to the same cross, and I said, okay, that would be great. We just spoke with Felicitas 2 months ago, and she was like, no, you're kidding. I was like, no, it's not a joke. It's really how it happened. And then in 2 months, we got confirmation from Marina, or 3, that yes, she would do it. Then we all met in Barcelona. And because as institution, we needed some guarantee that this will for sure happen, because it means, of course, from organizational point of view, from financial point of view, you have to plan this in advance. You cannot just say, yep, next year we do it. So that was, beginning of, I think it was February 2023. And after that, immediately we dive into working, immediately. So first, like getting all the books possible, not only about these 12 years, but about Ulay, about Marina, reading everything, putting all together. So this was kind of intense period. And then in October 2023, it was the first time we went to States. And then Ljubljana States. But as you know, I'm always saying it's not the only work we did. I still have to run the institution and did shows in between, different shows that I also gave my time and energy. Felicitas is teaching, there are students, there is like the whole work. So it was not like people always think, great, you had 3 years. Yeah, but it was not all the time in the world that we could invest only in this project. But it was joy to do it during weekends or in the afternoon when you come home from the office. We would call each other many times and send messages or something that you found or you discovered, or like, check this book. Oh, Machiavelli is great. Read the whole book, So yeah, the process took actually to really dig deep into the material 2.5 years. So it takes time. And it demands also, not only time, energy, but also it's a decision you make. Because, it's easy to complain, oh my God, I have too many things to do, than to check every paper that we find. But we really did, because we really enjoyed it. And that's the beauty of that kind of project, that you just dive in without thinking that, oh, I'll be tired. Oh, bye-bye my next weekend. Oh, again I do. Traveling is nice, always. We all like to travel. But we didn't go to rest there. It was not that we were sitting on the couch. It was work. You just change your office in a way.
In a way, it can be even more tiring working out, not from home.
Definitely, because at home you have your own surrounding, your own books, your own kind of,
You know where things are and where to get things that you don't have at home. But once you're somewhere, you have to put everything upside down and figure out everything. Like even just going to a library can be a nightmare sometimes.
True. We were traveling with books.
Yeah, totally.
Always,
I was traveling all the time because, I took each and every Flixbus between Vienna and Ljubljana that you can imagine.
I'm so sorry.
No.
I'm really sorry. I've taken those a few times. And
but it was clear that I do it because it was also a privilege to work with this material, to be honest, and to work with Cukrarna, to be invited, to be part of it. I mean, it's not, that you can expect always and be so warmly embraced conceptually, but also as a person. And for me, like you said, I have a chair at the Academy of Fine Arts, so I teach about performative practice since 25 years. This was also for me a gift because all the knowledge I collected in the last 25 years, which is regarding performance art, always in transformation, always moving. You don't have a concept at the beginning of the 25 years and that's it. It's always in motion and in reflection and self-reflection. So for me, especially also these topics and the questions regarding the whole project and these 12 years, everything came together and I was able to kind of ground it within the concept. It was wonderful for me.
Did you two work together before?
Yes.
Is this why this combo is functioning very well?
Probably it was a test. You never know when you start to work with somebody how it will go. You trust your feelings. But yeah, there was no doubt. I had no doubt. I don't know if I can talk for Felicitas, she will tell later. But it was like from the first, we did a show during COVID time. It was actually, Felicitas should tell the story. I remember when you called me first time, just to check, just that you see the frequency of another person. And I remembered I was in New York at that time, and I was like, why she wants to talk to me now? Why she cannot wait? But she really want to have a talk.
Yeah.
And then we had a talk, really short one, and we both were like,
It works.
We will not tell you what were the questions between us, but it was obvious we are so much on the same page, on the same frequency. And then it worked perfectly, but the problem was COVID. So we had to be Zoom meetings, Zoom installation in Vienna. Felicitas did it all. Then we did it all also in Ljubljana. It was exhibition Ko gesta postane dogodek, when gesture becomes an event. It was in City Art Gallery. It was 2020, I think. In Vienna, 2019. Yeah, the COVID time, as we call it. And that was our polygon for trust, because imagine that you are co-curating a show and you are not physically present, and then it was a Philly going around with the computer and showing me, what do you think? And I was like, great, wow, maybe vitrine a bit on the left, which doesn't make sense because you never see properly through the camera, but kind of that you have a feeling that you're investing something in it. So Felicitas really did it in our name, and I never saw the show at the end. And then in Ljubljana, it was again another polygon. It was like, okay, now we truly work together. And it was obvious that, because you know how it is. It's not easy to. We were laughing at the end of this project. We said, but we are still friends.
Yeah, I think it's the good thing is that we are both very much committed to the result. We are both no ego shooters. We are not interested. We even don't discuss which idea was whose idea or whatever. It's not important. Important is that here, and I came back now after 1 week only in Vienna with a little distance and went with my students through the ground floor and the basement, and I thought, wow, who did this cool show? And if you can say this, I mean, it's just so great. Yeah.
So the decision to invite Felicitas to be a co-curator was a no-brainer. Was this your decision or your input, or did the whole institution decide that?
No, the whole institution would mean, in our case, a lot of voices. No, it just melted. It was just no question. I don't know, can we call it even invitation? It was just so natural that it was yep. And with having director like Blaž Peršin, you don't need to worry that he will doubt your decisions. When decisions are made on the basis of your professionalism and your trust in other people, we have director who never doubts, and that's because he stands behind us. So when you said the institution, that's of course I introduced the idea to my colleagues here in Cukrarna, and they all more or less knew Felicitas, and they were all like, oh, great, because all of us, we like to hear other voices. We are very happy when we get comments, be it good or bad, it doesn't matter, but argumented ones. We are tired of just people who vomit on everything, and this is something I don't take seriously. I'm sorry, because as I said today, there's so many beautiful things in this planet that I cannot, if there is an argumented critique, excellent. And we discuss it a lot with the team. We are not ignorant, we don't care who's that person. We discuss, we read things, and then we are applying it to our practice or to our visions, and we are discussing, okay, maybe for the future we should think better or give more attention to certain thing, topic, people, or so on and so on and so forth. So of course I introduced immediately the idea that I would work on this exhibition together with Felicitas, that we work together, and everybody was super excited. And as I said, Blaž was super supportive. Of course you need the support of institution, not only the inner circle, but also the whole institution of Museum and Galleries of Ljubljana, because we are part of a big house where, certain things correlate and we depend on each other, and that was super important.
So let's talk about space more seriously, in a way, how this exhibition is now represented in Cukrarna. Could it be presented anywhere else? For example, when the idea of the exhibition was born, Cukrarna did not yet exist, probably, back in the day. and then Cukrarna came to be, and you were like, okay, now we can make this exhibition in Cukrarna. But have you ever thought maybe could this happen in Vienna maybe, or maybe somewhere else? Was the Ljubljana Cukrarna like the first? This will happen in Cukrarna. You know what I want to ask. Can you please elaborate my questions more beautifully? This was your question.
The question is also about why in Ljubljana, in a sense. I mean, in one way it makes sense because it's like Ulay's given place, because his resting place is here. He chose to spend the last years here. But on the other hand, in the spirit of what they did, Ulay and Marina together, they were not doing everything just in given places. They were also having the chosen place. So why then this became not just the given place, but also a chosen place in this way? It could have happened anywhere, basically, the exhibition.
True. It was, again, like with big projects, it has its start, but also you can never point with a finger. Cukrarna was existing when we started to talk about this project. I said after the Pistoletos exhibition, actually, this came out. Yeah, Ulay didn't know that he's so ill when he moved to Ljubljana. He moved to Ljubljana because he really liked it. He really liked Ljubljana. He was peaceful here. He enjoyed a lot. He was involved in the art scene. And when he heard about Cukrarna, actually we were already discussing a smaller project with him about the space. And he was a great, I would say, companion on this long journey before we opened the space. So I embraced many of his comments on Ljubljana's art scene, on Slovenian's art scene, international one, and how he thinks Cukrarna should function. He was very devoted to kind of also collaborate. If he wouldn't die, I'm sure he would be part of one or another committee or something that would influence our decisions, because he was really happy that Ljubljana will get this space. So in this way, it was natural. And then we spoke also about Vienna. We spoke also about other cities. We hope that the show will travel. But somehow for all of us, even for Marina, it was never a question. She really was trusting, again, Lena and us later on. And then when she came here last year, October, to see the space, she was like, yep. She was so sure about the space, about the atmosphere. She met the whole collective and everybody, and she felt totally confident that this is the space to do it. So there was never a single minute of doubt that Cukrarna is a good space.
I mean, the exhibition is well woven into the fabric of Cukrarna. I think I don't know who did the exhibition design. Do we have a name, maybe?
Exhibition design was done by Katarina Čakš, with the advisors of advising help, or how to say, of Rok Žnidaršič and Jerneja Fischer-Knapp.
So I think it's really kind of well put together, and it fits the material, actually. It's really kind of ephemeral in that way. It gives space to the actual material, not just kind of being the way. Mm. Also, you mentioned the constructions, Masha, that the white, what are they called?
Scaffolding.
Yeah, the white scaffolding works well in the space.
Yeah, this was also the idea from the beginning, that we wanted to turn the representation space into a production space, more or less, in a working space, because the visitors and all of us who are in the exhibition get kind of part of it and write their own history of it, because until the exhibition, the mood and the storytelling on these 12 years was quite the same all the time. Love story, and they work together, and then they separated, and the wall walk, and so on. And we are both very much fan of multiple storytelling and different views. And I think you can, when you navigate through this was the idea of the architecture, of the exhibition architecture, that you can navigate through the material and pick out your own way and your own story and your own path. And this should be very translucent and transparent. And then you have these folios, which on the one hand protect you in diving in the material and like a study room. On the other hand, you can watch people watching. The observer observes, like we have in the first floor, the work of Remy Saug in Night Sea Crossing. So it's also very much about how can you curate or show or share performative work. And I think we took a new path, which has not been followed so often until now, that the archival material is not an add-on, but part of the whole work process. And this is how we negotiated it with the architects and built together this.
It's not an easy medium to display. Like performance on its own, it's already, you have a conversion there happening because you have the performance and then you have the recording of the performance, and then you have basically just a bunch of videos, which is not easy to actually exhibit in a way that feels airy and fresh and yet kind of engaging. So yeah, that's why I was kind of impressed with the way the design was done, and maybe even the size helps. Probably the size helps as well to kind of feel that you're more part of the happening on the time, like especially in the basement where the projections are pretty big, and it is kind of being in the space but not really being in the space.
So being in between huge amount of material, because as you said, we cannot show all the material, but this quite flexible installation gives you also the feeling that you are in between much more material than you can see. You can more or less be an integrative part of a thinking realm, if you want to. And this is also what is important when you curate performance art. It's not only about the live performance moment, because very often iconic performance moments have only been shared by 3 persons or 10 persons, and we are still talking about it today. So it's about communication, and each and every material that you can show contributes to this story and for this reactivation of the performance.
So what was your relationship with the architects? Were there many meetings and...
Yeah, like it's, if you want to work as a team, you have to be on the same page, meaning that we had to introduce them the project from our angle, not only, to present them which works will be there, because for many of them, we didn't even know, to be honest. But also to trust them that they will kind of grasp the ideas that we have about this exhibition. So it was first the content, then the ideas, the primary ideas we had, that we want to show the archive, that of course we want to show a lot of video works because most of the performances are well documented on video, not all of them so much with photography. So all of this, explaining them what kind of material, the narrative, the dramaturgy of the space, and kind of really get them on board was important, because otherwise this communication could not work. And that happened with everybody, actually. Also then with Aydin Basic, with the designer who did the catalog and the book, and then the design of all the texts and all the material that comes around. It was also important, So we really kind of slowly, we were introducing the project step by step. And with this, it was good because we also had to formulate between each of us. Because, when you have to introduce it to the third person, you have to have a common stand. So it was also cool for us to kind of, okay, we have a meeting with architects. So what will we introduce them today? So how will this go? And then actually they came with the first suggestion, which was where it was obvious that they immediately got it. They understand that we don't want to compete with the space, because it's not an easy space when you think about all the levels of Cukrarna, not only the white cubes we have. And that they really understand our wish to put the same emphasis on archival material as on presenting documentation. And then we started. Then we talked. Then we brought in dilemmas. Then we brought in like suggestions of changes. Then, it's a process. And of course, they have to be part of the team. We didn't consider them as only external collaborators, but everybody became part of the team. Otherwise, the result would not be coherent. I think it would be very obvious that there was no synergy. So for two of us, that was the most important thing. And actually seeing different things that they did before that, we were kind of certain that we will find a common ground at a certain point. That's important, because otherwise this can become something super different.
And who chose the architects?
We did together. Mm-hmm. So everything was discussed together. Felicitas knew one exhibition, but she didn't know it's them. Then I was like, they did this and that, we checked. And then, it was like, but I know this. So it's kind of, it's funny how sometimes you just put a name to a thing and then you're like, but I know this. So it was actually a joint decision. Like everything, I don't know how, it's this hard question, to say like, when did it start? How did it go? Somehow it really went natural, everything, and also people coming in, also the team in Cukrarna, like 2 years ago, I did already a presentation to them, exactly in this room where we are now today. And I presented them like everything we found till then with Felicitas in one archive and another archive. And I did the whole like walk through there 12 years. So we were sitting 3 or 4 hours, the whole team, from curators to technicians. They were all here kind of getting into it, understanding, okay, this is what will happen. Because, also for them it's important, otherwise they cannot plan their activities. Not only, from technical department, but also our pedagogical department. You have to let them know so they can think in advance what could be good topics or certain units that they could introduce to the whole exhibition and to public then. So, it was all the time, a lot of talking, a lot of dialogues, and a lot of listening.
Yeah, it sounds like a dream privilege to have all these capable people with you, to be able to talk to them and to trust them, because usually obviously I'm not comparing this exhibition to other smaller, tiny baby exhibitions in Ljubljana, for example, but usually as a curator you are like totally alone. The technician comes on the day the exhibition is getting done and that's it. So you don't have this space for conversation and for
the teams
usually you
smaller.
Also don't have time. But
but that's the problem of structure, of structure of institutions, and that's something you have to work on it every day. And I have this luxury that when I came to Cukrarna, actually we built together the team. So we really worked a lot on this, and we do every day, because every part of the team is super important. Without devotion and really like caring and being totally for it, what we do here, from a smaller project, one-day project, to bigger show, you really have to have everybody on board. But you have to invest a lot of time and energy. And I would say, but it's not so much time, but it's more like that you really find people that they like what they do, they enjoy what they do, and that's the biggest thing, because when I hear people, that's not my work, I get so sad. Like, then what's your work, Then explain me, please go into your contract and tell me what's written there. Because, this is, I'm always saying to my colleagues, come on, when I need, I'm also a cleaning lady. Why not? If we need to, if it's action time, we all do everything. But then, you have to carefully think about these things, and you also have to show examples. And this is the problem in institutions, not only in Slovenia, also outside. It's the biggest issue. It's hard also. We are a small team, a compact small team, but it's hard to kind of maintain these good conditions, working conditions for everybody, so that everybody would then feel like this is part of their life. It's not only a day job that you do.
So if we go back to the exhibition, before you were talking about that the way of seeing the exhibition can be translucent and that you can have your own path of looking at it. So my question was, so there is no a particular way of the order how to see the exhibition? For example, you have to go to the basement and then, I don't know.
No, I mean it's your choice. But of course, in the entrance space, we tried to put the iconic objects which give you more or less an overview of this journey. We have the van, which is very, very important for Marina as well. We have then the vases, the so-called empty bodies, which were the last work of the two. And represent more or less the period where they couldn't perform anymore, and then the wall walk. So in this cartography with these coordinates, you can already kind of get an overview if you want to, or then you dive into the basement in the first years in the 70s, also accompanied by the drawings and the paperworks. But you also can go immediately to the backside of the ground floor and get an idea of the later transcontinental work, transcultural work, which is very interesting and important at this time as well, where they started to work with video and photography. And then you have the huge background space with the archival material, where you have papers where you can follow their negotiation of getting together art-wise, because they were both artist personalities when they met. Ulay coming from the performed photography side and Marina from the live performance side, and they were already acknowledged. And of course, they decided to write history and to work together and to create that self or the third, which was the art. And you have to negotiate it. And you have wonderful sketches where they try to find a way to work with each other. Then you have the love letters, and then you have the diaries from the Chinese wall walk. And or you go to the second floor and start with the wonderful series of works they did after 6 months hypnosis practice. Or you even want to start with diving in the material in the mezzanine, where you can listen hours and hours and days to audio recordings they did from the very beginning, telephone conversations, and even recordings of the answering machine, or conversations with other artists, where you will not maybe hear each and every minute something very exciting, but where you can dive in the whole process, how the works and the practice evolves. Very interesting. You have there films, even small private films of Alba, their dog, or their family, and then of course you have all these notebooks where you can also go zoom in the sketchbooks, diaries, texts. So you can choose to go to this mezzanine and spend there hours and hours at the end of the exhibition, or you do it at the beginning, or you just come back for this to the exhibition. I think it's an exhibition where you can come back multiple times and you will always find new things, and it's like me today. I came back from Vienna after 1 week and I was like, oh wow, now I didn't see this before. I didn't realize this connection before. And so it's like if you read a book, you always bring another self with you, and you can read the book 10 times and it will be 10 times a different book at the very end, because your questions are different. So,
did you have in mind also the public who does not know Marina and Ulay.
Totally.
Yeah, because it's interesting because there's not a lot of text. The exhibition is very intuitive in a way. So I think it's very good for people to come to see all the other people who are not maybe into the scene or have never heard of their common projects.
That's why we did also the timeline in the second floor, which you can take as a closure of the show or as a beginning, as Felicitas said. It depends where you start. And also we made a guidebook where you have also texts on important points within the show or their practice or objects, which are maybe a bit longer than on the walls, because of course people standing in the gallery, you need different kind of attention. And we didn't want to put too much texts because, people are capable to interpret, to kind of dive in their own way. But of course, certain kind of guide points or orientation points we had to put. And we thought that's important for people who never heard about continental Syria, and that they read something about it. Because, about relational works, they know mostly, at least few of them we heard about, or, they are so canonical, they are so all over that people know them. But then it's good that you tell them that this was the 70s. It was a start when, there was a certain focus on, mobility, movement, body, and so on and so forth. And then in 80s, after Australia, after many different things, like from hypnosis in 80s and then Australia, it changed. And then the Nazi crossing Syria began, which is about sitting, which is about really contemplation, concentration, and so on. So we wanted, of course, to point these certain periods in their practice, but not too much, because we didn't want to be didactic, like, now you have to know this, and then to understand this, you have to know this. So we tried to also think very carefully about where we are adding textual level of the exhibition, of the project. So for sure, I always keep in mind the non-regular visitor of art exhibitions, because we do come, we always come. We found our own ways to get into the topic. But there's many people who think that art is not for them because, they don't know enough or they don't understand. And this is the main thing we are occupied from the start of Cukrarna. How to bring in people and keep them coming back to the Contemporary Art Center and telling them, of course you get it, from your point of view. And it's totally good point of view. But then it's a lot of work to do, to work on it, and a lot of thinking. And sometimes even, you do compromise because you say, but this will be good for general public. And then, the professionals, they will read a catalog. So, it's, for sure.
You have options.
Always. We try to give them.
Maybe just for the end, the whole exhibition has a lot of other program. Many performances will happen. Would you like to point one out?
Yeah, we have the Reperformances, which were also accompanied by Marina very much. The two artists,
Katarina Stegner and Primož Bezjak.
Yes, they even went to a workshop at the Marina Abramović Institute, which is a hard thing to do, but they did. And they do regularly performances on a regular base here, which we understand not as an additional program, but as part of a live performance, live exhibition. I would say, which is as another medium, if you want to. We have videos, we have drawings, we have photography, and we have live performance.
Maybe just to add for the end, that each of the performances, like a work relation and a similar illusion, will happen once a month till the end of the show. But then 3 more demanding, although, that's how to judge this, but let's say more demanding performances like light, dark, and breathing in, breathing out, they will happen only once. So the schedule of Reperformances you find on our website. I strongly suggest to think about it and reserve a ticket because, it's a big interest, especially for the ones that will be reperformed only once. All of them reperformed by Katerina and Primož.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We hope this was interesting to you, and now we will also copy-paste again the conversation with Marina Abramović and Lena Pislak. Anyway, thank you very much for listening to our podcast, and we hope to see you or hear you again soon.
Auf Wiedersehen. I say auf Wiedersehen.
Auf Wiedersehen. See you in the show.
Upam, da se vidimo na razstavi. It was pleasure, but guys, half an hour.
Yeah, sorry.
No.
We could do a long duration,
We could, but then we would have,
Povej uvod, kjer bova napovedala te dve kuratorki v angleščini.
Kjer uvod?
Iz glave ga moš povedati.
What? Tako prazno glavo imam zdaj. Kaj hočeš od mene?
Ja. Pozdravljeni in zdaj sta z nami še kuratorki Alenka.
Čakaj. Rabim njuni imene nekje dobiti. Nimamo imen. Felicitas Thun-Hohenstein. Hohenstein? Yes?
Treba je vprašati, pač ne vem, na otvoritvi so vsi bili.
Hey. Hey everyone, we are back with the Art Vital exhibition. Today we're
Še enkrat Art Vital se mi razumeli.
Ne vem, zakaj imam to tle. Ja, zaradi imena. Okay.